everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mandy and I'm a full-time reseller. On today's video, it is another What Sold Wednesday video. If you are new to the channel, I did take a small break, so I am trying to get caught back up and I am just selecting, I don't know, a handful, a few sales from when I was gone that maybe had some keywords I want to share with you guys. Something that surprised me by how fast it sold, for how much it sold. Just some things that I think are currently trending right now. So we will go over those. I think we were at, where did we leave off? Okay, so we'll be starting with sales that are still at the end of July. So we are slowly but surely getting caught up. This was a Halloween vest. I picked this up at the bins. I normally always pick up the cutesy Halloween vests, tops, like sweaters, shirts. I don't really find bottoms. If I found like a skirt, I would definitely pick that up. Dresses I do pick up as well. This one did go for an offer of $22.50. This was a new to me brand. I felt the material and I was like, I have to look this up because it felt very nice. The way that it was stitched looked really good. The brand is Whatever Forever, and the tag, I will make sure to put a picture of the tag. It almost has like a Bart Simpson as, I don't know, like a dinosaur or something. I'm not really sure. I couldn't find too much on this brand. I did find a listing, I think on Grailed. I don't know if it was for sale or someone had bought it for, I think, $100. So I had no idea what to expect. This dress took a little while to sell, but I figured it would eventually. The brand is Boom Boom Jeans. I've never heard of it. The tag definitely is kind of looking like that 2009-ish to 2013 type era there. This one I did title Boom Boom Jeans Gray Grunge Punk Bodycon Alternative Goth Dress Medium. I do think that this silhouette is kind of making a comeback, like the bodycon, the really tight short dresses. Obviously people have still worn them. You know, right now I feel like the big maxi dresses with the corseted tops or fitted more in the bodice is kind of popular right now. But I think that we're kind of, you know, getting into, like I said last week, like the 2010s, and this kind of stuff was pretty popular with like the whole clubbing vibe. So this one did go for $25. Next up is a Madewell top. I wanted to throw this one in there just because I do not pick up a lot of Madewell at all. This one I actually got at one of the like Amazon overstock bins, returns, whatever you want to call it, store. They had this and all of their clothes were only $2. I have a couple pair of Levi's that will also be a little bit later here that I'm going to show. But all of the clothes were $2 this day. This was a new with tags, Madewell. It was a size 12. It had like a satin silk type feel to it. Very classic look, button front. I knew I wasn't going to get a ton, but it did sell for $88 originally from Madewell. I also figured I could send this to ThredUp too if it didn't sell. But it did go for $28 pretty quickly. Next is a Garnet Hill top. I haven't found this brand or picked it up in quite a while. It was something that was kind of bread and butter for me for, I'd probably say like 3 years ago, but I just am not really finding it that much anymore. This was new with tags. It was on sale for $1.99 at Goodwill, a size medium. This sold the exact same day that I listed it for full price. I had it listed for $20. There wasn't too much going on with it. It was just like a dark red, maroonish, burgundy, whichever color you want to call it. It was organic cotton, 3/4 sleeve. New with tags, like I said, size medium, and it did sell the same day I listed it. Okay, now we are going over to Depop. This was from the brand Secret Treasures. I believe that's a Walmart brand. This was an older tag. It had a print on it. Let's see. It was like this red satiny type feel. It had a floral print on it, a size 1X, which was great. Some keywords I used on this one: grunge, floral, satin, mini slip dress, baddie, goth. It looks like that was about it. And this one did end up going for an offer of $20.70. Another item from Depop. This was from the brand Piccadilly. I think that's what it is. This I actually got at Goodwill on $1.99 day. I just knew someone was going to love it. They did write a really nice review that this was going to be like their new favorite sweater. This was almost to the ground, like a full duster. It was a size large, extra large. It had like this black, brown, gold, almost metallic I don't want to say it was like knitted, but something. It almost reminded me of, I guess it would be knitted, like those scarves that have like a furry feel to them. It did clasp in the front. It was long sleeve. I did use keywords like earth tones, grunge, artsy, layering, and this one ended up going for an offer of $25.50. Another Depop sale. This one I wanted to share just because this brand doesn't normally scream like, hey, Depop, like this is going to be popular here. This is from the brand Susan Graver. This was definitely all based on style. I'm actually kind of surprised with myself that I put the name in the title. Normally I would just put that in the description and like keep some of those words so that I can put some other keywords in, but I guess it didn't really matter with this one. This was like a almost emerald green, like a dark tealish green, I guess, with black. It was plaid. This one I titled Susan Graver Velvet Teal Green Black Plaid Holiday Pull-On Skirt Size Medium. I did also use keywords like Christmas, elegant, elastic waist, and this one sold pretty quickly for my full asking price of $20. Back over to eBay. This is a pair of those Levi's I was just talking about. They had all of these like brand name clothes. I think that they were trying to sell them pretty high at the bin store, and then they dropped it down, and then I must have hit them at the right day because it was $2 day and they said all of the clothes were $2. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick up all these brand new Levi's. I'm assuming someone bought them and returned them to Amazon, and then they just got thrown into these pallets. So these were a pair of Levi's women's 501, the 81 jeans, size 27. They did have a button fly, just your normal, you know, trendy pair of jeans right now, no distressing. And these did go for $40. Back over to Depop. This was kind of a surprising sale that I wanted to share with you guys. BP is the brand. I believe this is from Nordstrom. It might be like a house brand. It's not anything that is like overly expensive by any means, but I figured I could sell this one with some keywords. I really like the colors on this. It was neon green and like a pastel-ish pink. Plaid. This one I titled BP Neon Green Pink Plaid Rave Party Club Bright Cute Punk Miniskirt Size Medium. I also put in Festival, Alt for alternative, that it had a side zipper on it. This one sold really quickly, which like I said, I was kind of surprised. Just I wasn't sure about the brand, like if somebody would be like, I don't want to spend my money on that, but somebody did get it for $18. Okay, back over to Poshmark. This was one that sold very quickly and I almost left it at the bins just because it was kind of bulky and I'm like, oh, I don't really want to, you know, waste the space for this, but I figured the size and just the colorway on this would probably be great for fall, but it ended up selling in August 1st, so close to fall. It's Anne Klein. I titled this one Anne Klein Green Blue Plaid Open Front Preppy Dark Academia Blazer Size Extra Large. I did put in also Timeless Classic Office. It did have front pockets, which was really nice. The material was really nice. Like I said, it was a little bit heavier, and this one did go for $25. This was another surprising sale on Poshmark. The brand was this Worthington? Yeah, Worthington, not a, you know, great brand by any means. I've sold quite a few vintage pieces from this brand, but this sweater sold like almost immediately. So I don't know if I just hit the right person or what. I don't think that this was seen on a celebrity or in a show or something to my knowledge, but I titled this one Vintage Y2K Pink Orange Open Knit Retro 70s Vibe Sweater Size Large, new with tags. I did also put in there scoop neck, psychedelic, groovy, bright, sold immediately for $20. Okay, still on to Poshmark. This was ModCloth. This brand, I feel like is maybe not as popular as it once was, or it could just be that there are just certain pieces that are trendier than others. This one I had for quite a while. I thought it would sell quicker. It just kind of sat. There was some interest. I maybe had it priced too high. This one I did title ModCloth Peach and Cream Floral Embroidered Satin Dress Fit and Flare Retro. I also used keywords like pastel, cute, feminine, and dainty. It was a size large. This definitely did give like 60s, 70s vibe with that cute little fit and flare style with the polo collar. It was picked up at the bins and I did get $28. Back over to Mercari, these Victoria's Secret Y2K little swim skirt type things did really well for me over the summer. This one had kind of like a cool groovy retro vibe. They're just pull on. They have a lot of like a little flair to them. This one was a size medium. I picked this up at the bins and I did go for $20. Back over to eBay. This was from the brand Cactus. I've sold a couple things from this brand. I don't know too much about it, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of more of like a quirkier art to wear type brand. This one, it was like a cardigan, but it was really open knit. Almost like a crochet. What did I title this one? I titled this Cactus Black Hollow Out Crochet Punk Mermaid Core Long Cardigan Size Medium. And this one was picked up at the bins, very lightweight, and it did go for $24. Back over to Poshmark. I talked about this brand either last week or the week before, Bird Dogs. I just wanted to share again with you guys that these do sell for decent money, especially if you can get them at the bins. This was a size 32-30. They were like a performance type pants, like golf pants, and they did go for $35. Back over to eBay. This was a Gap dress. This one I picked up at Goodwill for $3.99 on clearance. It was a dark floral, black and white, kind of like a ditzy print. This was maxi. It had pockets. It was a extra large, new with tags. I did check comps on this one. Gap is just kind of one of those brands like Banana Republic, Express, where certain pieces are going to do better than others. Obviously, the newer the item, probably your better bet that it will go faster. But this one just had a lot going for it. It was a good size. It was new with tags. It had, you know, just black and white, so really neutral colors. And this one sold really quickly too for $28.70. Back over to Poshmark. This was actually my sister's. My mom has been going through their house and like just trying to get rid of all of our old stuff. So my sister didn't want any of this stuff anymore. This was a vintage Disney Eeyore mood watch, and then it was supposed to still have the ring. I'm sure if we looked hard enough, we'd find the ring somewhere in my sister's old bedroom. But I did just list the watch. I still had the box and the little pamphlet, but it did need a battery. I believe on this one, obviously the mood ring, and then it was a mood watch. So it had like this little cloud that was over Eeyore, and then it would change and then it would tell you what your mood was. Somebody ended up getting this one for $80. Back over to eBay. This was a new to me brand, G4, I think is what it is, G/4. This one had like a skull camouflage print to it. It was purple. It's a men's golf shirt. This one was a size medium. I got this at the bins, mainly based on the feel of it. That's why I don't wear gloves or anything when I go to the bins, because I want to be able to feel the fabrics. And this one went for $30, I think, in under 3 weeks. Back over to Depop. This was actually had quite a few likes. It had 53 likes on it. This was Vintage Exhilaration from Target. It was like, it was kind of like a gauzy type material, very sheer. I made sure to put that in the listing. It had a little bit of embroidery to it. I titled this one Vintage Y2K Cream Semi-Sheer Regency Elegant Princess Delicate Top Size Extra Large. It's always good when you find the bigger sizes when it comes to these tops, at least for me. Let's see, I also used cream off-white, so I try and use as many colors as I can that pertain to the item in the description. So in this instance, if somebody was looking for a cream top or an off-white top, I probably could have used ivory as well, but I didn't in this one. Romantic, dreamy, renaissance, those were some other keywords I did use for this one, and this one went for an offer of $21.60. Back over to Poshmark. This was from the brand Rebel Spirit. I've never heard of it. It seems to be newer just based on the tag. The tag is screen printed onto the back. I don't think that happened until probably, I don't know, like 2000s definitely. Before that, they always had tags. So this one was titled Rebel Spirit Gray Black Grunge Cyber Goth McBling Cross Short Sleeve Top Medium. This one did have this one had some issues with it, and I still got $30. It had a small bleach spot, some minor wear, and one of the gems was off center, I think on the back of the shirt, which obviously, unless someone's like totally looking at your shirt, they're not going to notice that. But once again, I've talked about this type of style that has been doing really good for me. Anything that has wings, crosses, hearts, angels, I don't know, like this cyber-sigil type design right now is doing well for me. Will it continue? I don't know. I've heard that Y2K is kind of simmering down a little bit, but you know, that time will tell. And like I said, this was from the bins and $30. Back over to Depop. This was from the brand Requirements. I wanted to show this one. I told you guys, or if you have been here for a while, you know that skirts are something that I sell quite a bit of. This one was kind of like a different length. Normally, the best selling for me are going to be the midi maxi length skirts or like the micro minis. This one was more of a knee length, which I don't always sell or pick up just because it's just not as popular, but this one had a really pretty print. I titled this one Vintage Requirements Teal Fairy Tale Whimsy Pull-On Plus Size A-Line Skirt 3X. So it was a good size as well. And this one, I also used fun, flirty, floral, knee length. It was just really the print that sold me on this one. It was giving, you know, Princess Fairy Tale to me. So this one ended up going for an offer of $25, so my full asking price. Next up is a Betsy Johnson wallet. I actually picked this up at Ross for myself. I got it home and I need a new wallet, but I am like, I don't know why, but I feel like I need to have like a huge wallet, like a mom from 1988 that has like her checkbook and all that stuff smushed in there. I don't use a checkbook, but I like to have like multiple compartments within my wallet. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and get with the trends and have a more sleeker wallet. I put all my stuff in this wallet. I just couldn't. It didn't all fit. I didn't like the way it was like positioned in there. So I thought I'm just going to sell it. I think I paid either $12 or $14 for it. I looked up comps and I was actually pretty surprised. So that might be something I kind of keep my eye on at Ross and TJ Maxx, like their wallets, and just kind of see what comps look like. This one did have like the full zip, so it was really nice. It had like an embossed heart print on it, and it did go for my full asking price of $30. Now on to Poshmark. This was from the brand Liz Claiborne. This was a heavy jacket. It was a wool blend from Liz Claiborne. I picked this up at the bins, and, you know, I probably wouldn't have paid up too much for this just because Liz Claiborne is probably sold at like JCPenney, maybe, I don't even know what even else is still out there, but Sears, is that still a store? I don't know. But this one just had like that timeless classic look to it. It was new at tags, size medium. I titled this one Liz Claiborne Black Wool Blend Modest Classic Quiet Luxury Coat, size medium. I did put that it had faux front pockets. Definitely make sure to do that on any type of jacket or blazer. If the front does not have real pockets, that would be an easy return for someone. A lot of people want to have pockets when they have their jackets, so if they are full, make sure you're putting that in your listing. I did also put that they're hidden buttons, and this one went for $34 pretty quickly. I think I listed this, maybe it took like a month, which I figured it probably wouldn't sell until we got closer to fall, just because I don't think too many people are looking for, you know, big bulky jackets in the middle of summer. Back over to Depop, this was a bundle sale. It was 3 items that ended up going for $52.80. They paid shipping, and then I paid the overage of the shipping. That's how I have my bundles set up. So this one was this like Halloween shirt. It just said spooky on the front. This came in some sort of like mystery box type deal. Next was a tank top or like a cami. This one did not have any interior tags. I measured it to be about a large, extra large. Titled this one Dark Floral Moody Goth Romantic Witchy Whimsy Goth Satin V-neck tank. Like I said, if you don't have a brand and it is something that people maybe are looking for, I suggest picking it up if you can, you know that you can use some keywords. And then the last item in that bundle, I believe this was from, where is this from? This was from Vanity. And this one was like kind of like an asymmetrical sleeve because it had three 4th length sleeve on one side and then just 2 little straps going over the shoulder on the other. It had some like laser cut details. It was kind of this grungy reddish orange tie-dye type look to it. Those 3 items, which I'm sure they all came from the bins, went for $52.80. Still onto Depop, this was another skirt. This one was a mini one, but this was a pretty cool pattern. It was kind of giving like witchy, kind of like almost planet type look. This one I titled Vintage Y2K Heart Soul Black Red Celestial Witchy Grunge Short Skirt Size Medium. I did also use pull-on alt edgy. I think I've said this before, when you're doing skirts, definitely make sure to let the buyer know how they get it on. Does it have zippers? Does it have buttons? Is it an elastic waist? Just so they kind of have an idea if they have, you know, some leeway with, you know, getting it over their hips or on their waist. And this one ended up going for $21.25. Back over to Poshmark. This was a Free People dress. It was new a tag size small. I actually bought out some inventory from a reseller, and she had a bunch of Free People, but it's all pretty small sizes. So I think I'm probably going to sit on it for just a little while, but this one sold pretty quick. This is definitely giving fall vibes. It's that crushed velvet. It has lace, bodycon, once again, pretty deep V, size small, and it did go for $24. These I will pick up every time. I had a pair that had a print on it. I think it was gnomes. Those went for a little bit more just because of the novelty print, but this is Duluth Trading Co. I did use the keyword gardening short overalls just because it was kind of like that ripstop fabric. I mean, you could do whatever you wanted to in these overalls, but they're definitely giving, you know, outdoor gardening type vibes. These were a size extra large. They had stretch to them. There was a really small spot of discoloration on the back pocket, but they did go for $34. Back over to eBay. This was one of those dresses where it has the vest that's attached to it. I think it tied in the back. Yeah. So like the vest comes down and then ties in the back, so you can kind of cinch your waist a little bit. I think I talked about that last week. That silhouette on these vintage like 80s, 90s dresses definitely sells the best for me, as opposed to the ones that are just like a free-flowing, you know, same length all the way down. This one had like a dark floral to it. Kind of like a gauzier type textured material, a size 12 petite. And this one did go for my full asking price of $30. Back over to Depop. This was from the brand Fashion Bug, one of my favorite brands to sell. They made a lot of really like cute, witchy, whimsy goth type dresses and skirts in the 2000s. This one was a size 16, so a good size, asymmetrical. It had some ruffle details on the hemline. Let's see, what did I use for keywords? Anything new? I put that it had a smock back, had a tie front detail. Anything that ties in the front, ties in the back, has any type of like corseting in the back, that is very popular. This one ended up going for an offer of $28. This is another pair of the jeans that I got from that Amazon return place. Like I said, I only paid $2 for them. They were all new with tags. These were the ribcage wide leg medium to light wash jeans. They were a size 26-32. All of them were pretty small, but this one ended up going for $65. Definitely can't beat 2 into 65. Back over to Depop. This is another style of that dress I was just kind of talking about. This one sold almost immediately. It was this really pretty like sageish green color with white plaid. It tied in the back, so it gives you that little bit of a cinched waist look. I called this one Vintage 90s Green Plaid Tie Back Preppy Classic Modest Maxi Timeless Dress Medium. I also used Academia, Nerdy, Schoolgirl, Cottage, and I did put in this one that it could be sheer in some light. So I think I've talked about that before. I might have just said it earlier in this video. Anything that when you're taking photos and you're noticing like, ooh, this is a little bit sheer, definitely make sure to note that. Once again, that could be an easy return. People want to know, do they have to wear some sort of slip or something underneath it? A lot of these older fabrics, some of them do just kind of appear pretty sheer under certain lights. So I just make sure to put that so that everyone is aware that, you know, you might need to wear additional undergarments under it. This was kind of a fun one. I picked this up at the bins. At first I thought maybe it was part of like a Halloween costume just based on the tag, because the tag said pop icon, and this looked like a shirt that one of like the Backstreet Boys or something would have worn like really early on in the 90s. This one I titled Vintage 90s Silver Rave Club Kid Metallic Mesh Chain Semi-Sheer Button Front Top. This one was, did not have a tag for the size, so I had to measure it to be about a 2X. I also used Party Futuristic, and this one sold for $48. So I did look up comps. This is an actual brand from the 90s. It was not part of a costume, so that was even better, but this one was definitely a fun pickup. This was another really fun one too. This one was just laying at the top of one of the bins. I'm guessing somebody picked it up and then they were like, nah, I'm not going to, do it. The brand was something, I think, from Brazil. The brand was Rockford, and then it had a Brazil tag, and the size was 40. But none of that mattered to me. I knew that I could just measure these. This is screaming like Britney Spears, early Y2K, Christina Aguilera in her dirty, era. I titled these Vintage Y2K 90s Grunge Lace Up Front Slight Flare Low Rise Mad Max Jeans size 26. That's what they ended up measuring to be. And then I did put in here that they had tan, blue, green. That was the like wash to them. I also put that you could see your leg all the way up. So this didn't have any type of, fabric that would be covering your leg going up. It was completely, cut open and then laced up. I did put in Kesha Spears Steampunk Biker. And like I said, they were size 26. I had them originally listed for $100 just because I couldn't find anything on them. So I was like, I can't really compare them with the brand, but I knew somebody would pick this up for the style. Someone offered me 60. I thought that that was completely fair just because 100 was kind of like, obviously my really top point and I could always go down. And they were picked up at the bins. I probably only paid $2 for them, but this was definitely another fun pickup. This was another style-based item. This is from the brand Frazzle. I thought I was going to get more for this, honestly. I had to delist it, relist it quite a few times, and that just kind of surprised me. This whole color palette, the vibe of the skirt was, normally I can sell like $30, $35, but for whatever reason, this one went for a little bit less. It wasn't extra large, so again, really good size. I titled this one Vintage Grunge Fairy Y2K Goblin Core Tie-Dye Pull-On Midi Skirt size extra large. I also put in Fairy Core, elastic waist, and this one ended up going for an offer of $28. Okay, back over to eBay. This was a fun little skirt. Picked this up at the bins. I think I might have shown you guys this when I had like that huge skirt haul. I can't remember. I get so many skirts that like they kind of just get mushed up in my memories, but this was a vintage 90s grunge plaid button front midi pull-on prairie rustic skirt size 12. It was in just kind of like a unique colorway with the plaid. That was something that drew me to it. It had the exposed buttons on the front, a decent size 12, and this one did go for an offer of $18.04. This was another fun one. So we had some really cool vintage sales in this week, or this clump of sales that I'm showing you guys. This was from the brand St. John's Bay. I titled this one Vintage Y2K 90s Brown Tan Faux Suede Button Front Penny Lane Jacket size large. This one might be a stretch on the Penny Lane just because normally Penny Lane is going to have like faux fur down the front, around the hood if it has a hood, and then at the cuffs. This one was similar. It had the similar shape, so I did throw that in there. This was a size large. There was a little bit of discoloration on the back, something you could probably get out if you had it dry cleaned or something. Picked this up at the bins, and this one did go for $38. So we'll pop over to ThredUp really quick, and I will tell you some sales over here. A pair of Gemmy flats. They were more of like a fashion sneaker. I had found this brand, I might have gotten a pair of shoes actually from ThredUp that I learned about this brand, and then I had found a pair of heels in a Goodwill that I sold for a decent amount. These ended up selling on the website for $65.74, so I ended up getting $20.73, and I think these shoes actually came from ThredUp in a mystery box, so I probably had like $7 into those. I think I've shown you guys this one before, but for whatever reason, this Joie dress, I just keep finding it. I found quite a few of them new with tags at like a Target liquidation type store in town. I sent them all in, and for whatever reason, they're selling on the website for over $50. I don't know why. They have the tags that are from like a Costco type thing. But as soon as I find them, I always pick them up and throw them in there because I got $15.44. This was a pair of American Eagle jeans. I will send them there like after I've tried selling them if I can't get them to move. These I ended up getting $9.46, so almost $10, which is not bad. This was a Ted Baker London skirt. It was kind of like a longer length pencil skirt. It was missing the belt. I picked this up at the bins. I did have it listed on my own, but it just was not getting enough traction. I think it was a smaller size too. I ended up getting $7.57 for that. This was a really old Athleta dress. I think I had picked this up and I did have it listed for a while. Once again, some of these payouts just really shock me what people are willing to pay. Because somebody paid $47.74 for this Athleta dress that I had listed and nobody was interested. And I ended up getting $11.04 on that. This was a Madewell dress that I picked up at a consignment store when they had a bunch of stuff for $1. And I ended up getting $11.29. Had that one listed forever. Madewell, we know, is oversaturated. It just is not, as popular as it once was. This is another dress that had one of those like Costco Sam's Club type tags, Vince Camuto, and this really pretty like bright pink. I got this at the bins. Someone paid $37.74, so that left me with $7.22. Definitely happy with that. The bins, my average cost of goods is never more than, maybe sometimes it could be a little bit more than $2. This is something that I bought specifically to go to ThredUp, so I am literally taking it from the bins, steaming it if it needs it, throwing it in a box, and getting paid for it. This was Alfred Angelo. I believe they make bridesmaids dresses. They might make prom dresses. I picked this up to actually list it myself, but it was one that just kept like sitting on the hanger and I just kept pushing it. I was like, oh, I don't want to list it. I don't want to list it. So I just threw it in a box because I knew I probably wasn't going to, and I ended up getting $7.22. So those are a couple sales from ThredUp. I will keep throwing those on the end of these as things keep selling. I will have the house to myself for the next couple days coming up here, so I probably will do some filming so that you guys aren't just only getting what sold videos from me. As far as my current sales, I know I'm not sharing that with you quite yet until we get caught up, but they were pretty dead over the holiday weekend here. I figured they would be. People are I don't really know the exact date. Some of the schools around me started today, Tuesday, September 2nd, and I think some of them probably started before that. So people were probably getting ready for school yet. They could be, doing one last vacation type thing, hanging out with family. So I figured sales probably wouldn't be the best. But I definitely am seeing more fall related things sell, which is great. We are in September. I cannot believe that we are in September of 2025. That just feels unreal to me how quickly time seems to be going. So my question for you guys as we're going more into fall, are you more of like a pumpkin person or an apple person when it comes to flavoring? I know some people are like, the second that the coffee places start getting pumpkin stuff out, people go wild over that. I'm kind of like neither. I don't know, like certain pumpkin things I'm okay with, certain apple things I'm okay with, but I'm just not really like a diehard either way. But let me know in the comments below if you're more of an apple person or a pumpkin person. And as always, if you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to give it a like. It really helps out the channel and I really appreciate it. So I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.